All right, I know it's probably a little dark, but today I'm going to be installing these lights in the front. They look a little bit like the Baja lights, but a company called LOYO, they sent me the lights. They reached out to me. They said, hey, Sensei, we'd love for you to install these in your Road Glide. And I needed to get some lights. So I'm going to install the lights. I'm going to do a full review on my thoughts in about maybe 2 videos or so, or I might just wait and ride the bike in the nighttime and give you my full point and reference and seeing how I feel about it. I already opened the box already. But I'm gonna open the box here so you can get an idea on what the light system looks like. I had posted it already on Instagram. This is how the light kit looks. I think it's gonna be a beautiful addition to Beast. The quality, I can't say it feels cheap. The quality feels good. It has a nice weight to it. I like that little color strip in the middle, which matches Beast. Ooh, all right. And from here, we also have a bunch of wire harnesses that should be compatible with my 2022 Road Glide. And the only setback with this product, and let me just make sure that it is a setback or not. Yeah, the only setback with this product is there's nowhere to put your front blinker lights here. This is just screwed on. So I'm gonna have to remove my lights here as well. But I prefer to have these high beams more than these little blinkers. All right, so let's get this thing going. Let's do the breakdown first. So before we do that, we got to take off these screws here, dismount all this stuff. If you don't know how to take this off, I have a bunch of videos where I'm already taking off the whole front. All right, so let's get this thing popping. I'm gonna put this thing in fast speed, and then we'll end up just trying to get this light on and make sure everything fits the way it should. Okay, first thing I'm doing, I'm gonna take off the windshield setup. I'm just taking up this whole thing off. There's a little piece underneath that. Normally the windshield just comes off, but I'm taking it off together. All right, so right here, you need to take a panel remover tool just to take your time and pry this up. There's some little snaps inside. And once you get a snap, it will come up. It will expose the bolt that you need to take off on both sides. You want to do that on your left and on your right. Don't break it. You could use your hands as well, but I want you to practice. Just take your time with the panel. You hear it, you hear the little snap, and it will come off. Once you get it unloosened a little bit, you could hand loosen the rest of the way because it's not torqued down really, really, really tight. Just be careful not to scratch up anything. You could even take something to lay over your paint on your tank. And like I said, we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. There's a screw right here. Normally that's a hex, a Torx bit, but there's a screw here on the right and a screw on the left. Now, once again, I have a replacement screw on the bottom. So it's a Phillips head, but this is gonna be a Torx head. Chances are a Torx head on your bike. Right, there's a bolt here in the light. Now I have a different light system on here, but this is the bolt you wanna remove right here. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take this off gently. Be careful as you take it off. There are wires that's connected here for the lights, okay? So just let it kind of hang and look to see where those lights are. Make sure you have everything properly situated. If anything that's connected, disconnected. Yes, and we are clear. All right, so get that off. Now that's gonna give us access to the light. Put your fairing someplace where you know is safe, and let's move on. Now, before you go any further with the electrical stuff, I should have done this in the beginning. Remove the side panel. There's a fuse here. It's a main fuse that goes right here. Pull it out before we touch any more electrical stuff. So we have 2 screws in the bottom, and those are hex heads. This is a 3/16 size hex head. If you're using a power tool like me, just break it first, and then work it your way out. And right now I'm not being very smart, so let's get smarter. I'm gonna get my Hogworks fender cover to protect the fender from getting any damage whatsoever. Buy yourself one of those things because I don't care if it's Hogworks or whoever, just get yourself a fender protection, and also you can get one for your tank. So let me just show you what that looks like on the bottom. That's what it looks like. It just goes over the fender, protecting your fender from damage. Break it. Unloosen that. Now, one thing about Harleys, these things, they strip very easy. I can't find my wire snipper, but anything that you can find that can easily cut through zip ties, then you cut them. All right, that's the wires that's holding all this together right now from the other lighting. So it's a lot of lights, man. The hard part sometimes is trying to figure out, okay, what goes to where, what goes to what. I had a couple of things that I had to splice together before, so I had to cut those wires and reset and whatever. But the back of the light, there's a plate right here. The main harness is right here, and you pull this up, and there's 2 locks. Hold on a second. Once you pull that up, take your time, and that unplugs. I'm gonna take this out, take my time, and pop this out. Now, when you're popping this out, try to preserve it as much as you can so you can snap it back in. So I'll work on one side, take the other side, and just kind of pop it out. See, now the light is completely disconnected. Put that in the container. Now let's see what this light does. So now there's always going to be differences, right? So this has 2 lines, whereas this had only 1, right? So now comes, let's see what they did with the wiring system and how they have the wiring harness designed. And then I'm going to have to do a whole bunch of setup. The thing about this, it doesn't come with directions. So the directions is going to be a bit tricky, but this is going to run to the battery because you're going to be able to have the dim switches, all these different things. And then this is kind of like a relay. Look at this. It's a whole bunch of stuff. But don't get too confused because this will connect to this. That's how that's going to connect. We know that that's pretty simple, right? And then these, we'll need to find a spot to just live. And then on the light itself, these harnesses, I'm not sure which one is left, if there's a left or right, but we will figure it out. One of these is going to connect to another. One. Well, and then let me just make sure there's no color codes. There we go. And I'm going to connect that to that. Now, I just wish that they put some directions in here, but it's common sense. All right. So we got this wiring. These are already connected. So I have to find a place where I can mount this. All right. From the looks of it, it doesn't look like it's too difficult to mount. Maybe I can mount it to the screws that we took off and have it in that spot. All right, let's talk about the part of this build that will make you want to punch yourself in the face if you're not careful and you don't take your time. Now, there's a line, the wire that I showed you guys at the end of the battery. This, you have to find a route to run this, and you're going to have to take off the tank because you want to run this nice and neat to the battery line, okay? Once you do it, it's not as difficult. It's not as hard. Once you look, I like to get from the ground, look from the bottom up, and that way that can give me a really good visual of where that needs to go, okay? So now, what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna attach this little piece back. See, wires can become very finicky, difficult, and confusing. But if you look at the common law behind wiring and know color codes, go to color codes, this is a lot of common sense. This is not very complicated, at least not to me, because I have some type of knowledge on electrical. But if you don't have any knowledge on electrical, it's gonna seem very difficult at first. But once you get it and you're not afraid to attack it, then you know that you can do pretty much anything after that. So I'm gonna snap this back into its place, try to get this thing to go in as much as possible. These are trickier to me than trying to run the wire. I'm just playing though. This is not trickier than trying to run the wire. All right, so I got that in. All right, so now we got these 2 parts. And I'm gonna check the spacing to see how much spacing they gave me. And in fact, is there a left and a right? And I'll know that once I connect the batteries before I connect everything up. But what I'm looking at is the best place for this to go. I mean, it could be anywhere. This thing can just live in the back, but they have a spot that you can actually mount it. So I'm gonna mount it like this way in the rear, okay? And I'll show you what I mean. One of the things I'm gonna change real quick as I'm looking at this, I want this to be grounded. So I'm gonna connect this to the actual frame and I'm gonna put the screw through the light. So I'll show you what I mean. I'm gonna take this right back out. because the other one I have it connected to the plastic. But the more I thought about it, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna connect this to the frame. So instead of having it this way, I'm gonna take this out, put this bolt through here first, and then connect it in. You see what I'm saying? And I'll do the same thing for the other side. That way, when it goes in, it connects directly to the frame. All right, so this is a 3/8 socket. And this is why you have to take off that main fuse. So when you're doing this electrical stuff, you have a lot of room to work and you're not making any errors, you're not blowing anything. Because you know what I'm saying? Because any little thing can blow these stuff, any little error. Beautiful thing about when you're doing this type of job is just to have patience with it. You know what I'm saying? And if you can't see, get yourself a headlight. Like what I'm putting on right now. Pop that light on. And it would be good to have some magnetic attachments too. So I need to get some magnetic attachments, but it's okay. I don't have that right now. So I'm gonna use what I got. So now I have the light, I'll be able to get a better visual of where I'm at and where I need to be. And that way I can line this up the proper way and get it screwed in. Yep, this one lines up really nice. Nice and snug. And then there's one more bolt. I think I dropped it. But there's one more bolt that goes on the bottom. And then that's it. All right, so we got that front put on. We're gonna take the seat off. Already got the bolt disconnected already from prior jobs that I'm doing on Beast. So I got the seat off. And we're gonna take the tank off. Now on the tank, you're 2 bolts in the front on this bike, all right? And then there's a switch, a pull switch right here. You basically wanna press up and pull down, and you're gonna get a little bit of gasoline that's gonna come out. But once that's loose, that's it. All right, so I'm using a 1/2 hinge hex head, which will help me to get it out faster. So that's how it looks. It looks like this, okay? So I'm not gonna move the camera. I'm gonna let the camera roll. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side, and you're gonna need to have an extended arm, okay? I'm gonna zoom in a bit so you can see it. There's a plug that's right here in this spot, just like this. Just pull that off. And the reason why I'm taking it off is that I get a chance to just run everything neatly. And there's a breather hose. The breather hose is gonna run right down the line. There's a little pattern to where it runs to, and then it ends all the way down where it doesn't touch the wheel, the belt. So you gotta be careful of that. I had said there's only 2 more bolts, but I was wrong. There's some bolts here as well, same exact size as the ones we took off first. Take those off. The bolt in the middle is only for the center console. Here we go. So now I'm gonna remove the tank. No problem, everything is disconnected. Always make sure and never just snatch it off. I also disconnected the breather hose just from the top, so you ain't gotta worry about pulling the bottom out. Pick it up, I got a lot of gas in here, so which means it has a lot of weight. So to get into your battery, you wanna move all this stuff out the way, right? There's the same bolts, again, same size bolt. Just gonna loosen that, taking those out. Remember, put your bolts where you don't lose them. Take that up, put those to the side, and then there's a little module here. Just pick it up, and it's gonna give me access to the negative and the positive. The wire that we're running is right here. It's more than long enough to get to where we need to get to. So I'm gonna neatly maneuver the wire, put it in some zip ties, neaten everything up, and that way it's under the tank. I'm following the same trail as everything else. Let me just give this some length. And I could start off by working it into some of the grooves that's already here, and I could just pick it up, put it hold on a second. Let me think about the length of where I want this stuff at. Yeah, there we go. So I'm gonna start trailing it underneath some of these things already that's already trailed. I'm just gonna use what's already here, okay? Like this one, I run it under, see if I can get a grip to pry it out a bit. There you go, got a grip. So that's already running there. I'm gonna tuck this inside that groove. You see how it's running neatly? So now that's ran nicely. And I could get a zip tie, and I can zip tie that area. I know it's dark. Let me give you some more light. I could zip tie all of this, can be zip tied, but what you want to do, you want to make sure you have some slack on the wire. You don't want the wire extremely tight. All right, so we're almost there. Make sure the wires look good from the top, from where you ran it through. Make sure it's not hitting anything, right? Make sure everything looks good and there's no danger. So once I'm satisfied, this I don't have to zip tie, but just because I'm a neat head, I'm gonna zip tie it. Now, I buy my zip ties from Temu. If you go on Temu, you'll be able to get a whole lot of these little tools that you know you will be using. All right, so we're gonna take a 10 mil socket. We're gonna connect the negative to negative and the positive to positive, okay? The negative is gonna be on this side where you see the negative sign, and the positive is gonna be on the other side where you see the positive sign. Now, I know it sounds like, whoa, man, duh. Yeah, but yeah, you'd be surprised of how many people don't get it. Okay, red is positive, black is negative. Now this one is just, you gotta push it all the way through. So you're gonna push it through. Whatever you disconnected, connect it back together, all right? So I'm connecting that back, I'm connecting this back, and there's one other one that's here, connect that back, that slides in. So now I'm gonna take that one that slides in, make sure I don't forget to put it back together. Okay, where did it go? It went right here. Put it back in the same orientation, tighten that down, hold it in the spot. Like I said, the work is not that difficult. If you're not confident in doing the work, then I understand it. I don't blame you. You know, always get somebody who is professional enough to do the work if you're not confident in the work. I'm gonna run this through. Same thing like we just did. Put this through. I'm not gonna worry about this one yet because that one is just a slide through. You can slide it through the slot. Put that red back right where it needs to go. If you get a little spark, don't be jumpy. Don't be a scaredy cat, a chicken, pollo. I'm gonna torque it down just a bit, just to where I know it feels tight enough, tighten to feel. You want it tight enough that way you know you're not gonna have anything loose because the bike can shut off when you hit big bumps. And you be wondering, man, what happened? Well, what happened was you didn't tighten your screws down enough. There we go. Now we have the fuse that we're gonna connect back to this, and this came along with the system. The fuse is gonna go inside of this, all right? And this is a cover, and this is gonna cover it. It's a protective cover. You put that protective cover on, and I like what they did. Hold on, this is supposed to go all the way over. There you go. I like what they did because they put a little slot here. So let's say you want to tighten this up and screw this to something, you can. In my case, I'm not gonna screw it to anything. I'm just gonna tuck it, find out where I can tuck it neatly. There you go. And then we have enough wiring that's here, and all of my cables that was here before, I'm just gonna lay them down because guess what? I have to go back under here and tighten up these wires, put everything back to being neat again, and that's it. So the true test now comes from me putting this main fuse back in, and we're gonna see if the bike lights up properly or not, all right? So I'm putting the main fuse back in, and let's go to the front light and see what that front light does. All right, moment of truth. Let's turn this light on. Wow, those lights are bright as heck. These lights are stupid bright. Stupid bright. You can't even see nothing right now. Let me turn this light down so you can get to see what I'm seeing. Wow, those lights are bright. All right, now I have to check if the high beams work. Yep, high beams ooh, baby. All right, guys, there it is. Like I said, it's raining outside, but I'm giving you the full visual on what the light looks like. I think these lights look amazing. I love the fact that the company sent me the orange stripe that goes right with Beast. I love the details on it. I love the way it looks. I gave you guys a little sample on the brightness. It's ridiculously bright. But what's gonna happen is because I'm always riding, you're gonna get a chance to see what it looks like anyway during the night. Look at that. It's absolutely gorgeous, guys. Big shout outs to that company for reaching out to me and setting me up on this. I'll let you guys know ahead of time that this is a sponsorship. They are sponsoring this video. I did not buy this. It was sent to me as a trial run for me to put it in here, do an install, and see how I like it. Well, I'm gonna tell you, I love it. I love the detail of the look. And honestly, I understand why you no longer need those lights there no more, because this thing is ridiculously bright. You don't need nothing else. I'm giving you from different angles so you can see what that front looks like. It is not Baja, and the price comparison on this, really nice. It's not expensive. And what I like about this is the fact and how it installs. It installs, everything fits perfectly. This is a 2022 Road Glide, and this thing fits the way it should. There goes the other angle from it. Looks like a robot. This thing just brought beast to life, baby. All right, so I'm gonna get a link. I'll leave a link to this if you decide you want to order it, get it installed. It's not difficult, even running those wires. All right, see y'all in a few.